Okay, and welcome to episode 1 of Inside the Ogre's Cavern podcast. I am Barg the Ogre, aka Stu, of Stu's Stats. You're listening to us for the first episode, and I'm joined today, rather non-normally, by Kev.
That's
doing,
me. Kev? I'm not too bad, mate. Not too bad. So, hashtag somewhat short.
Somewhat shorn. Okay. So we've been talking about doing this first episode for a long time. It's been put
feels
back.
It feels like we've been going on about it for about infinity, to be honest.
See, that's almost an interesting segue into what we're talking about. We'll come back to that segue. Because I've had tonsillitis for the last week and a half. And
throat AIDS. It's throat AIDS.
It's been so bad. It has been horrific. I've been, it's not been fun. Antibiotics and everything. But we are here today to talk about it for episode 1. So we're doing something slightly different from what we'd normally do.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is, with the biggest comic book movie of all time coming, and the self-proclaimed most complicated crossover of all time, is that what they're calling it?
Something like that, yeah. It's the most ambitious project ever.
There we go.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
The movie 10 years in the making. Infinity War is out in less than a week.
Get hype!
And yeah, we are all getting very excited about it. So we thought we'd do something interesting, something a little different. And we would do what we were calling the Avengers Infinity War Survivors Draft. Or, as I've also been referring to it, the Draft of Doom.
Draft of Doom.
Draft of Doom. So taking a little bit of inspiration from our friends over at the AF Cast, they've been talking a lot of
hashtag it's Steve.
Hashtag it's Steve. And their American football talk, and I know they've been talking about doing a draft in the near future. We thought we will take as many.
We will steal this idea, and we will use it for our own gains.
That's what steal more is politely repurpose.
It's steal.
Yeah, pretty much. And we thought we'll come up with as many names as we can, and we will try and get a bunch of people to put together a list of people. And
yeah, well, Marvel have told us that there is 68 characters. We're assuming that that's just the heroes that are appearing in this movie. So that was a challenge in itself.
Yeah, see, they've said that there's going to be like 60 odd characters in one scene.
Yeah.
And we saw, and we've a couple of times we've done it. We've gone back and we've looked at all the active characters, and we can get to about 45.
Before you start scraping the barrel.
Before we're like dragging in like some
You've
really
seen
obscure
Tony
names.
Stark's mum in a flashback. Does she appear?
Oh no,
Yeah.
Her name's not Martha, is it?
It's not. Save Martha!
Martha! So we've been watching all the trailers. We've been
religiously.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and over-analysing everything. And of course, Marvel are lying to us all the time because
that's what they do.
With Ragnarok, we saw that, so we don't trust Marvel anymore. And we want to see
ever.
And we think it's going to be a bloodbath, don't we?
It has to be. Like,
it has to be.
If they don't decimate the team, it's a missed opportunity. And taking the easy route out, I feel they would lose a lot of respect from a lot of fans, both comic book fans and otherwise. Because obviously they have got to try and tread that line between appeasing comic book readers who are well aware of what's supposed to happen, and just your casual fans who've only been following these characters for 10 years.
Yeah, and there's also like a sort of a scale where we've been building up to Thanos for such a long time. If Thanos turns up, and let's face it, Marvel haven't had a great history with bad guys. I mean, there's a couple that have been pretty good.
A couple of standouts.
But no one's really sort of
their most successful villain is now an anti-hero.
Exactly.
And it was more off the back of an amazing performance by Tom Hiddleston himself, rather than the character. Though he did have a fantastic character to work with. After him, you've got Zemo, who he splits opinions.
Nuanced, yeah.
He splits opinions. He achieved exactly what he set out to achieve. Can you not class that as a successful villain? Hela looked awesome. Again, she somewhat achieved what she set out to achieve.
But at the cost of what when she basically wiped out the Warriors 3.
Wipe them out, that's putting it lightly.
Yeah, definitely. So, getting back to the subject at
Yeah.
hand, we think this is going to be a bloodbath because otherwise Thanos is I mean, he's wandering around with the biggest MacGuffin in movie history. He's got to do
literal
something.
Kill switch.
Yeah, and if anyone's read the original comics, I mean, they've showed it in the trailers. He can basically wipe out anyone with a click of his fingers,
and he does.
And he does. And I mean, that's sort of what we've sort of been discussing in terms of things like that. I mean, I don't know if you can really call that a spoiler. It's been in the comics before, and it's been mentioned in the trailers as well.
They've made it very clear in the trailers. I mean, I've spoke to a few people who they've never read a comic in their lives, and they're like, just is this guy as powerful as he seems to be? Yes. I mean, there's no other way around it. And Joss Whedon said the reason they wanted to tease Thanos in the beginning was because there is no bigger villain in the Marvel cinematic universe that they could use that's bigger or more powerful than this guy, which I have to kind of agree with, though that's subject to change with the Fox deal. But
yeah, well,
muddied waters.
That's something we'll come to in a minute.
Yes.
So we sort of had to think about this, and we thought, well, if this is going to be as big a bloodbath as we think it is, and I'm not saying it's going to be a bloodbath. I mean, if memory serves, in the comics, they said people just phase out of existence. They're just no longer there anymore.
Have boxes appear around their heads, get their insides liquefied.
It's a really weird comic.
It's creative deaths, but
yeah,
But the advantage that the comics have is that they're not looking for a PG-13 rating.
No, this is
true. We're not going to see much in the way of blood. I think the characters that do die may be implied. Though one of my favourite things about Black Panther was, though there was a lot of implied death, you did see quite a lot of brutal takedowns.
Yeah, it was pretty on the nose, and certainly
you've got Michonne and impaling people with spears. They're running people over with cars.
When you say Michonne, do you mean Okoye?
You can call her Okoye if you want. It's Michonne, okay? No one else is seeing her as
hashtag crossovers. Anyway, so let's get this one back on target again.
They did say it was ambitious.
It is ambitious. Oh dear, someone's running around with a baseball bat. So here's what we did.
Holy shit.
So here's what we did. We had a bit of a chat about this. We spoke to some of the guys who are involved with various aspects of the FC Podcast Network. And we basically asked them to put together a list for a draft. So obviously me and Kevin are here live. A lot of other people couldn't be. Logistically, it would have been a nightmare. It would have been like trying to, I don't know, make a movie with featuring 65 comic book characters.
They have a much bigger budget to work with than we do.
They definitely have a budget.
But well, you know what? Actually, they don't. They just have a limitless pot of money. They can just keep dipping into.
A large mouse just throws money at them.
I've got an image in my head that I wish I could draw. Just illustrate out.
So
Mickey Mouse just making it rain.
Oh dear. So here are the rules. We crafted a list of 141 Marvel characters that could appear in the Infinity War movie. 65 of those characters are currently active in the MCU, i.e. they've appeared in a movie, or they've been announced to appear in a movie, or they've been referenced somewhere. So, for example, Captain Marvel hasn't actually appeared in a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie yet, but she's announced to be in her own movie in the next year or so, so she's in this list, in that group. There are 38 characters currently active in the various Marvel TV shows, which cover stuff like the Netflix shows, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Inhumans, which doesn't really count as a TV show, since it's rubbish apparently. And Runaways, which is on Hulu, I think.
One of those.
Apparently it's very good. Or I've seen trailers for it.
I haven't had the chance to get to watch it, to be honest.
No, we've sort of fallen by the wayside in the Marvel TV stuff recently. And then another 38 characters coming from a group which basically have yet to appear in the MCU, whether that is due to being part of the Fox Marvel properties, so things like X-Men, including Deadpool, Fantastic Four, or the New Mutants, or as a Marvel property yet to be brought into the film or TV universe, so things like Blade, Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, or She-Hulk. So basically anyone who the rights don't owned by Marvel but haven't actually put into process yet.
Yeah.
So obviously we've mentioned the fact that Captain Marvel's in the MCU groups. We've also put Adam Warlock in the MCU group because he's been referenced in the Guardians of the Galaxy mid-credits scene.
I mean, you kind of have to include him in there.
And yeah, obviously he is a huge part of the original a lot of the Infinity War stories and the Infinity Gauntlet stories and stuff like that.
You could really there's no other way to put it. He's central to a huge part of it.
Huge. I mean, I went back and read the comics recently, and yeah, he's pretty much right in the middle. Yeah, obviously he's vaguely appeared so far in the MCU.
Yeah, you have to class him as appeared, in my opinion.
Okay, so we have 6 participants and a special participant.
Very special.
Special participant. So the participants in this are going to be me and Kev, David Stobie from FC Podnet and the Buff Geek podcast, Killer Vanilla, Paul Watson.
Of Crystal Maze fame.
Of Crystal Maze fame, yeah. Physically can't do riddles. Not him, his sister. My regular co-host here on the Inside the Ogre's Cavern podcast, Sebastian. My darling wife, Angie, has agreed to be on the list. And do you want to explain our special guest participant in this, Kev?
Yeah, I can try. So, people who have played the card game Cards Against Humanity may be familiar with the rule Rando Cardrician, which is a play on the name of a certain Star Wars character, Lando Calrissian.
So, really? I've never got that.
No, well, some people wouldn't have. You know, there are some less than switched on people in this world, unfortunately. None of them listen to this show, so it's kind of a redundant
no one's listened to this
point.
show yet, really. So,
shh. But yeah, so Rando, the rules around Rando's picks are that we will use a couple of random number generators to assign him one of the columns. I say him, it's a gender-neutral character, just for safety reasons.
We'll call him they.
The avocado. Who doesn't love random avocados? Everyone loves them. So the avocado will be assigned a number between 1 and 3 for the 3 columns, and then a number between 1 and 65, which is the lowest of the columns, I believe.
Yes.
And the pick will be assigned. It could be all of the picks go from one column, unlikely. It could completely screw over everybody else's picks. It could mean absolutely nothing.
Anything could happen. I think it was one of those things where I think
adds a degree of randomness.
It essentially throws a grenade. It basically takes the plans that we'd already said. If we'd all been on here, obviously we'd have all been sitting there coming up with plans and potentially being able to call audibles, and it would have definitely caused audibles.
But this is a spanner in the works. No one has any control over it.
Potentially take certain things, and obviously there's also the chance that Rando could win,
which is one of the final lines. It might even be the final line in the rule in the Cards Against Humanity booklet. If you lose to Rando, it's considered the greatest shame of the human race, and you have to walk around. That's how you have to introduce yourself to people. So
you have to commit seppuku with one of the cards. You just honorably disembowel yourself with a Cards Against Humanity card.
What a way to go.
Okay, so other than Rando, our 6 participants were basically tasked with creating a list of 60 Marvel characters spanning...
Some people took this really well.
Some people understood this and some people didn't. Now, Kev, how many of the 60 did you manage to put on your list?
See, I could have continued, but I am so confident in my list that I stopped at 24.
You stopped at 24, so you didn't even get over halfway.
No, I could have. I chose to. It wasn't through ignorance or stupidity on my part. It's ignorance, perhaps.
I've said this already to you. I like the confidence, but we will see what happens when we get to 4th or 5th draw. And you're going, well, mine will be a random one again.
I'm Groot.
Right, so each participant was asked to build 60 in order of preference in terms of who they think will appear and survive in the Infinity War movie.
Yeah.
Each participant will draft, I put in inverted commas, in order until they have 8 picks, picking at least one from each of the 3 character groups, which we've already talked about.
Yeah.
Each participant was asked to decide where they wanted to draw from each draft route which column, sorry, they wanted to draft from each draft round, and the next available character on their list from that group will be picked for them. So, for example, Seb said if he wanted his third round pick to be from the TV group, we would pick the next character from that group on his list, and that would be that pick for that round.
Providing no one else has picked that.
Providing no one else. So once a character has been picked, they are no longer available.
Yeah, they're off the board.
They're off the board. You can't take them. So we can't have multiple people taking Spider-Man. We can't have multiple people taking Thor. If you get to the point where there are no characters available, so for example, if Kev got to the end of his list of 24 and went, oh, I don't have any more picks, he will get a random pick.
I will use the random number.
The random number. RNGesus will choose for them. Okay. So now, I can hear you all asking, how are we going to score this? How is this all going to work? What's the point?
Random numbers.
Random numbers. Yeah, well, yeah, it's random numbers and a thought experiment. So we've put a bit of points behind this, and we thought we'd put it. So, if a character from the MCU group appears in Infinity War, they will earn that person a point. Half a point if they are only referenced. So, for example, if, say, Nick Fury appears and he talks about Captain Marvel,
I knew a girl who could deal with this back in the 90s.
Back in the 90s. So, Nick Fury would get if Nick Fury has been picked, he gets you a point. If you've picked Captain Marvel, you get half a point. This also counts for flashbacks as well. So if we get a fancy flashback to Peggy Carter, she's a half point.
You see a jacket in the background with
a lovely red hat.
Miss Danvers or whatever.
Oh yeah,
there's your half point.
Just a lapel thing.
Yeah.
That character then earns you a second point for surviving the movie without being killed. Now, this is basically a case of either they disappear from existence, or are obliterated in some fashion, or skewered, to use a Joss Whedon tactic on several occasions.
He does like to kill his characters.
He does like to kill characters, and he does like to stab them through the chest.
In a lot of ways, I'm so glad he's not attached to this anymore.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know if I could take another beating like this. I'm a leaf on the wind.
No, please don't. Not in the fields.
It will always be too soon to talk about that.
Yeah, it will always be too soon. So if they're killed, if they don't get killed, you get a point. If they survive but are in some way incapacitated, or if they end up in a coma, or if they're banished, or any way that they are non-functioning but not medically dead. So, for example, if War Machine gets hit by a massive hammer and is put into a coma, that's half a point. Because he's not dead, he's just...
Even though he should be, but...
Probably, yeah. He's already survived pretty far, to be honest.
Further than he should have.
Probably, yeah. Well, I think I read somewhere, some story, was it Civil War 2? He gets exploded by someone? I can't remember.
Spoiler alert!
Oh, yeah. This comic's been out for ages. So anyway, that's for any characters that are in the MCU group. If the character in question is from the TV group, so anything from the Netflix stuff or the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., points are doubled. So it's 2 points for an appearance, 1 point for a reference or a flashback, 2 points for surviving, 1 point for massive crippling.
For crawling into the next phase.
Yeah, just crawling into the next phase. So getting out, but like just being done. Yeah. And then to push it even further, if they are in that third group, that non-Marvel, that non-used character group, the one with all the Fox stuff and all the bits and pieces of that, it's triple points.
Ooh.
So it's 3 for appearing, 3 for surviving. So there's a big risk and reward game going on. We don't know what's going to happen in this movie. There's going to be surprises. I think there's going to be surprises. Do you think there's going to be surprises, Kev?
Well, they've kept some huge secrets around it, and I don't know if anyone saw the Instagram post that the Russos put out. Thanos demands your silence, and I mean they've got they must have a huge secret or two that they're trying to keep from getting out, and yeah, there needs to be something surprising in here. And they've got such a vast wealth of characters to pull from. This deal that they've done with Fox.
The Fox deal. It's a great jumping off point. It's a great jumping off point for something interesting to happen.
Of course, they could just be completely
Us,
and
yeah.
utterly trolling us, and it's just going to all have been a dream, and it'll end with Deadpool waking up, and he's just like, damn, Cable was mad.
Oh, he looked like that guy. Purple Bruce Willis.
Big purple Bruce Willis with a pimp glove.
So additional on scoring, if the character does not appear in the movie at all, no points.
No point.
No point. 0 points.
Those of us from the UK will be somewhat used to hearing that.
Yes. So that essentially comes out as a wasted pick. But them's the breaks, as it were. So just as a quick note, Kev and I have also submitted our draft lists, and we are no longer allowed to deviate from that order.
Some of us chose their list well in advance and haven't doctored it since. That's how confident they are.
I had a look at it a couple of days ago, possibly this afternoon. It's all blurred together.
I can't say when I last looked at it, but I'd sent you all a message saying that was my list, and
yeah.
I remember being laughed at then. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So essentially, we're not allowed to call audibles. We have to do it by the book at this stage because obviously no one else is on the podcast with us, and it's unfair for us to basically go, actually, no, we're going to change it based on what's happened. So
we'll just click our fingers, and that is now changed.
The reality gem will kick in, and everything will be fine, and no one else will be none the wiser.
I'm going to win this anyway, so it's fine.
Oh, okay.
Dems fighting talks.
Dems is the fighting talk. So a lot of this is just down to bragging rights. We'll obviously have to go see the movie and work out what's happened afterwards.
I've already booked to see it twice on Thursday. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if I could wait. I'm so hyped.
Due to mini kaiju wrangling duties.
Kaiju wrangling duties.
We have to go into separate days.
No mech suits allowed, though.
No. Well, to be honest, these days you need a mech suit to deal with him. He's getting that big and that powerful, and he's learning to go for the eyes.
It's not taking him long at all.
No, yeah, they get big so quickly. Right, let me just see if I can quickly find. So we've got. Oh, I've already got the order here. So we may as well get started with this.
Yes.
We've done a bit of chat about it. Let's get the first round of picks done and see how horribly it goes, because let's announce the draft order. So hashtag it's Steve, master of the mixing things up and the creator of our draft order. Earlier this evening, through whatever wizardry and black magic he did, he randomly came up with our draft order for this game, and we're using a snake system. So we'll do everyone in one order, and then we go back down the order reverse. So it'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that sort of. So at the end of this round, whoever is last will go first in the next round. So it's a bit. So you may get the last round of the round, but you essentially get 2 picks in a row. Which I think is actually quite a strong position to be in, because you can sort of, if we could call audibles, it's definitely a strong position. But
yes,
yeah,
you would say that though, considering the list order.
Yeah. So let's announce the rest. So in first position is Rando Calrissian. Through complete fluke, the first draft picked in this draft will be a random selection,
completely random,
could completely throw everything off. Then in slot 2 it's me. Then it'll be Seb. Then it's Killer Vanilla, the chick thriller, Paul. Then it's Angela. Then it's Stoby, and then coming in position number 7, it's
bringing
Kev.
Up the rear. It's me.
But you do get those 2 shots in a row, which I think
that is true.
Is like, when I was thinking about it, there was a point where I was like, I don't know. I mean, based on how my column picks are going, I would have actually quite happily taken last spot. But we'll see if my column pick tactics have paid off.
I think I would rather have been like last then first than first then last. You know.
Yeah.
It's of course it's really going to depend on how random Rando's card picks are.
That's going to be the game really. It's so. Without further ado, let's get round 1 under our belt so we can have a look and see what comes up from that. And then we'll do a little bit of analysis, and then we'll move on and we'll get the next one done. So let's get this party started, Kev.
Right, so
roll those numbers.
The first column will be from column 3.
We're going straight to the
Oh,
externals.
Right. So
okay, here we go.
the number 58. Does it go as deep as 58?
It does not go as 58 to 58. It goes as far as 38. Roll again.
Roll again. 59. That's not random.
That's
16. This is not going well.
16.
316. Austin 316.
That's impressive. Jubilee from the X-Men. So,
That's
an interesting
fine.
first pick from
I'm okay
Rando.
with this. I am very okay with this.
I am very okay with that as well, because it leaves me well open to take my first pick. And I spent a lot of time thinking about this. I'm going for Adolescent Groot.
Adolescent
Groot.
You are Groot.
Sassy Groot, as he has been in the trailers. I'm pretty pleased with that pick. I'm quite glad to get that one in first. So we'll move to the next one, which is Seb, and his first pick is May Parker.
Whoa.
Which I'm a little on the fence on that one. We'll come back to it in a second. But
it's an interesting one.
It's an interesting shot. Next up is Paul. Is Killer Vanilla.
Killer Vanilla.
He's
and
also
his first pick.
Oh yeah. So what is his first pick?
Black Panther. T'Challa himself, the king.
I think that's a pretty solid shout.
I think so. Yeah. Of all the characters we've been introduced to, I think he's definitely one of the top picks. And I think he's thrown a spanner in a lot of people's works, but not mine.
No. No. Actually, you know what I should be doing? We'll get to the end of the round and we'll blank out some names.
Yeah.
So next is Angela, and now Angela is the only person to do this in the first round, other than Rando, who's gone crazy, and she's going straight to the TV picks.
Oh.
She's gone straight to TV picks, and she's picked probably the most likely person to turn up from TV. His name is Phil.
It's Agent. His first name's Agent.
His first name's Agent. Agent Phil Coulson, draft round pick number 1 for Angela. It's
a solid pick.
Solid pick. And now it's on to Stoby now. On to David.
Stoby's pick. His first pick is Peter Parker himself.
Peter Parker, the
Spiderman.
Spiderman. Phil Spiderman.
Phil Spiderman.
Oh yeah, the Spidermans for the down from the street. All right, Kev.
So
who's your number 1 pick? Have you been scuttled?
No, not yet. My first pick is the White Wolf, Bucky Barnes.
Bucky Barnes.
Yes.
Nice. A solid pick.
I know there's method to my madness.
There's method to your madness. Well, let's have a think. I'm just gonna you explain your sort of logic behind Bucky. I'm gonna quickly just black out some names on my lists.
So we don't end up with repeat picks, yeah.
So we don't end up with repeat picks.
So my first pick was based off of just sheer logic. So we all know that Captain America is not terribly long for this world. The trailers heavily hint that he meets a grisly end. And Chris Evans himself has announced that after Avengers 4, he's done. He's retiring from the MCU. Somebody needs to take that place. There's 2 characters it could be. One of them is incredibly boring, and the other one is Bucky Barnes.
Now, hold on. I'm assuming the other one we're talking about here is Falcon.
Yes.
Falcon's not that bad.
He's boring. He's boring. Yeah, he's not super in any way. He's got metal wings. You take them from him, what is he? He's a dude with guns. He's a grunt. He's boring.
Okay.
Bucky Barnes. The other logic to my pick, of course, is that Sebastian Stan is signed to a 7-picture deal that he's 2 movies into.
Really?
Yeah. I'm sure it's 7.
He's done more.
Oh, well, certainly signed a renewal.
Okay.
Of course, they could rip it up, but that was my logic between that. That was my logic in that pick. I feel it's a very safe pick. He's a likeable character when he's not murdering people's parents.
Yeah,
they've solved that problem, hopefully, as long as no one starts reciting weird poetry to him.
But I think they definitely said that they fixed that problem.
Yeah,
they've from the end of.
I don't know if they outright said it, but they've made it clear that that's what they were working on. So that was the logic in my pick. Huge contract deals, and somebody needs to be Cap.
This is true, yeah. And I think a lot of the sort of the talk seems to be about essentially because there's going to be this sort of huge big shift going forwards.
Yeah,
We're going to be looking at a change in the guard, as it were,
yeah.
and that sort of ability to shift from one character to another is pretty solid. I'm nearly done here. I'm hoping I've not missed something out, but I've just sort of like randomly blanking out names as I
So
come
going
across.
going back, working backwards from there, then we've got Stobie's first pick at Spider-Man. I think
Spider-Man,
it's a fairly safe pick. Let's be
it's a
honest.
fairly safe pick. He's definitely going to be in the movie. He's definitely in there. Is he
Does
going
he
to
survive?
survive? Is
Yeah,
he going to survive, or is he not? Is he going to be crippled?
he's got a sequel that's been
He does have a
confirmed.
sequel. So I mean, yeah, I
Of
mean
course,
it's.
there's infinite possibilities. Oh,
Ooh, I mean this is
you
the thing.
know,
Yeah, I mean
they
we've.
could kill him and bring him back in a number of ways. They could do it at repeat, which is the most ridiculous pun that I've ever seen in my life.
Oh no, just stop,
Stop, please.
stop,
Yeah,
stop.
of all of the A-listers, I think he's one of the safest. Mostly because he's a kid. I mean,
Yeah,
he'll,
I mean,
he gets beat down. I mean, we've seen Thanos chokeslam him.
oh
You know,
yeah, but
he,
he definitely seems to get his kicks in. I think from what I've seen
yeah,
in the.
yeah, he gets a really good
He
kick in
gets a
from what
couple of
I've
good
seen.
kicks
Yeah,
from what I've seen in the trailer. So,
yeah,
I mean, I think Spider-Man's a pretty much a no-brainer.
yeah.
Um,
As as,
I'm
sa-
happy to
as
let it
safe as
slide,
any
to
of
be
them could
honest.
be. Yeah, yeah.
So let's have a look at Angie's pick. She went straight for Phil Coulson,
You know
and
what? I think that's going to have screwed up quite a few people's picks.
he
He's such a
was
safe bet.
he was my sort of top name from that TV group.
I mean, you could almost mark him as an MCU character. He did appear there
He
before
has
he appeared
appeared,
in the
yeah, but I
in
think
the
because of those events in Avengers, you have to
yeah.
sort of he hasn't been around as far as the Avengers are concerned. He's dead, and there's been
Well,
such
yeah,
little crossover other than a couple of characters.
references. Yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's a good shout, and to go in first round pick,
it's
it's pretty
ballsy.
solid.
If any of them are going to appear, he's definitely going to be right up there.
Definitely,
No
definitely.
question.
So Paul, Killer Vanilla,
Kill Vanilla.
Black Panther.
Again, he's got a confirmed sequel, doesn't he? Or
He's got a
has it
confirmed
been
sequel.
confirmed?
He's just performed really, really well in
Well,
the.
is it not broken 100 different records on its way to being one of the biggest comic book movies ever? In the UK, it's now the second most successful financially
I mean, it's
comic book
it's
movie.
it's making a lot of other movies look really bad, and it's a great movie. I really enjoyed it when I went to see it. So
I enjoyed it more than I thought it would.
yeah,
Still a couple of issues with it, but it's not a bad movie by any stretch.
cool.
It's certainly better than some of the other ones we've seen.
Yeah, definitely. So Seb went really left field. Seb went really left field and went May Parker, which is potentially a good shout. But I've heard nothing about her being in the movie.
I haven't, no. Of course, that doesn't mean that she won't be there.
No,
It's just
definitely not. But
it's a strange tactic, but
you never know.
well,
Like, I mean,
that's it.
I think he's the only person that's put her on there, so it's not going to run the
Doesn't
risk of other
I'm
people
not going to
getting
be
there.
I'm going to be honest. That's not really a surprise. I don't think we'll see many people losing sleep over losing that pick.
Yeah. And then I went with Teenage Groot. They've already killed him once. I don't think they'll do it again.
Well,
They're doing this whole thing, like they're pairing him up with Thor and Rocket. Like there's this talk about Groot sort of being adolescent, being a bit of that difficult kid, and then finding a new role model
yeah.
in Thor, and sort of being part of that little sort of side quest to go create whatever this weapon is that he's going to make. Which
And from what I've read about that part of Thor's new weapon, it is in fact part of Groot.
yeah,
So
so I mean, I definitely think Groot's going to be in there, and I think he'll survive. I said I don't think they'll kill him again. I think it would.
Well,
be...
see, that's where we're going to have to worry about the technicalities. You know, it's technically a different Groot
Yeah,
than appeared earlier. So
yeah.
if he was to be offed, but somebody's rescued a shoot and regrew Groot
That's
again,
a different Groot. I mean, we could potentially say it's maybe half a thing, but then he could keep doing that over and over and over again. So
if they were to do it again, it would feel like a bit of a cop out.
I think it would be
so
a bit cheap.
you're your arguments sound really.
I think it's
to be
pretty
honest.
solid.
Yeah.
It's a decent shout, certainly for a first
Yeah.
draft pick. And of course, Rando went with Jubilation Lee.
Silly
Clear.
avocado. What are you doing?
Clearly a lot of thoughts gone in
The
there.
avocado is picked in that column because it's coloured green. And that is ridiculous.
Exactly. That's
absolutely
crazy.
ridiculous. What were you thinking?
Indeed.
Stupid fruit.
So round 1 is done.
And I think most people can be quite happy with it.
I think everyone's pretty happy. Like everyone's definitely got a lot of the first draft picks have gone. I think the next round will be interesting because I think I'm going to get pipped to one of my picks. But
well, there's 2 people that have screwed each other over already, so
right.
Can't wait to see this one. So
Kev,
my pick up first this time, and I'm going with Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff.
Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff. That is a pretty solid shout.
I think so.
Sticking to the MCU groups.
Yeah.
Right.
And then next up is
Mr. Stobie.
Mr. Stobes. I'm having a shift between these columns. It's not the easiest. I'm
no, I'm just sort
of losing myself.
Keep ahead on everything.
So Stobie's next pick was Black Panther.
But Black Panther is now gone.
He's gone. So next up it's Scott Lang, the Ant-Man.
Scott Lang, the Ant-Man. Again, confirmed to be in the next Infinity War. He's got another movie coming out, but is it going to be set before or after?
That film has to be set before. It has to be.
It would
alternate universe, perhaps. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Maybe. There's all sorts of sort of theories and things floating around. Right, so we've done that. We're into Angela now, and her draft pick, and she's gone absolutely all in on she's gone all in. She's going external.
Oh.
And her second pick is Professor Xavier.
Ballsy.
It's a big shout, but you know there's that little creeping voice in the back of your head going, it could happen.
You know what? Yeah.
It could happen. It's just crazy enough.
Which Professor X though? You know.
Well, it could be a completely new one. That's the thing.
Completely recast them.
Completely
multiverse
recast.
Yeah.
I mean that's another conversation for another podcast.
Yes, it is.
A long conversation for another long podcast. But I think it's an interesting shout, and it gets those external outside
the mandatory
picks.
external pick out the way.
Yeah, it gets it done, dusted, and it's no
guaranteeing
longer a
the one that you want, of course, as well.
Exactly. So yeah, I think Xavier's a good shout.
Definitely. So next up is the man of Crystal May's fame.
The man of Crystal May's fame.
He wanted Spider-Man, but he
can't have him. No.
That, so he's getting Star-Lord, Peter Quill.
Star-Lord again, good shout. We know there's another Guardians movie coming.
Well.
But whether he'll be in it, there's the question.
That's something we can discuss at the end of this round. So I've read some things.
You've read some things.
I've read some things.
You've read some things. That's
why he's not in my. It's why he's not in my draft picks.
Really.
Really.
That's fascinating. Right. Okay.
I should have shared this information, but I didn't.
No, keep it close to your chest.
Yes,
right.
I did.
So we're going on to Seb next, and Seb, because of the order, has essentially screwed me because he's about to take my second pick. Actually,
Beautiful.
no, he's not taking my second pick. He's going to take him anyway, but I've forgotten that I've gone slightly crazy. So his second pick, because Seb hasn't actually given me a column order, he was just going in the order his draft pick is in. So his number 2 draft pick after May Parker is Ned, the man in the chair from Spider-Man.
Well, it's a safe pick because in the trailer we know he's there.
We know he's there.
So.
And like I said, Ned was my second pick as well. He was right up there. I was really hoping he was going to be in there, and I've been scuttled a little bit scuttled. But I'd forgotten that my second. So we're moving on to my pick. My second column pick isn't actually from the MCU. I've gone into the TV, and I've gone for the Man with No Fear. I've gone with Daredevil. There's all this talk about him appearing at some point. And I've got this feeling they're gonna cut to different scenes, and we're gonna see him somewhere just looking up at something or reacting to something, even if it's just a little 5-second appearance.
I don't know. I mean, he's inferred to be dead, isn't he? I mean, we know he's survived.
We know he's not, yeah, but
we know he's survived, but
that's it. It's like even if he appears for those 2 seconds, I'll take those 2 points for 2 seconds of appearance.
I think you'll be lucky to get a half point.
Well, we'll see. But
We shall see.
that's my
So
second
finally,
draft pick done.
the magical avocado over
The
here.
magical avocado. What's he going to do? What's he going to do?
So column
They,
number
sorry.
3 again. This
Three
isn't
again?
very random.
No.
I mean, I suppose
do you
it's
want
only got one,
to
two,
do it
and
again
three
so it
to
comes
choose
from a different...
Yeah, just
we'll do-
for fairness reasons.
Yeah,
'cause it's not fair on poor Rando.
No, we
Stupid
can't.
Rando.
We've got to meet the
Column 1 this time. Then.
column 1. Okay, this could really mess with some people.
It's 38.
38 is mainframe. Oh. Oh dear.
I feel kind of bad for this stupid avocado.
I don't, because he's about to get another. They're about to get another pick.
Yeah, it's true.
So mainframe was one of the characters that appeared at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
And if memory serves, they were voiced by
Someone.
not Hannah Montana.
Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus, I think. I might be
know
wrong.
one of them. I know one of them was, but I honestly I'm not in the middle.
I'm getting nods from
the.
I'm getting nods from the cheap seats, so
Nods
I must be right. Yeah, she voiced them right at the end. I think they're like a disembodied head, if my vague memory is correct. So round 2 is over.
Just confirming it was Miley Cyrus. Yeah.
It was Miley Cyrus, was it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Your nodding audience was correct.
Excellent. I was worried that people were going to come and shout at me on the internet.
You were wrong. What are you talking about?
How dare I? Oh no!
How dare you have an opinion?
Oh, you can't get this right. How you don't know nothing? This is the silliest idea we've ever had. We don't know if this is going to work, but hey,
we're kind of just winging it. But it's working so far.
I'm actually, you know what? I really enjoyed the thought processes of this, and when I chatted to Angela about it afterwards, she was like, "It's hard. It's hard to come up with 60."
It seems like such a simple premise. Like, oh yeah, you've got 65 names just to write off, and then you name your central characters, and before you know it, you're like, oh, okay, so we've got 20. Now what?
Oh, okay. We've still got to fill this out, and you've still got to fill it from these other things, and there's not a lot of the names. Well, we'll put the names of them up there for the other characters, but there's a lot of names on there. You're just going, that character's definitely not going to be in there, but you still got the. But we'll see how it all goes.
We shall see.
Round 2. How are we thinking this is going so far?
Well,
obviously,
the avocado
mainframe.
The avocado here is just sort of rocking back and forward, but I did just knock the table, so I don't know if they're happy or if they're drunk or if it's just physics doing its thing.
The world's a crazy place. So I've got Groot and Daredevil so far, which I'm pretty happy about. Those are the picks I sort of half wanted.
I agree with one of your picks.
I think when you move into the TV stuff, it's going to be really difficult.
It's really stretching.
Outside of Coulson.
The hope kind of was rekindled with all the carry on last year with Ike Perlmutter. I may or may not be saying that correctly. With him being ousted from Marvel, and he was the one that was so dead set against everything being mixed, despite Kevin Feige himself saying that it's all connected. That was their big thing. It was it's all connected. And then it's been nothing more than the helicarrier appearing at the end of Age of Ultron and a couple of references from within the show itself. No,
obviously it's like Sif as well. That's crossed across.
Well, Sif crossed over, but then she's not been seen in the MCU since. And the rumor was that it was because she dared to appear in the show. Whether that's true, of course,
I think it's more likely that she's down. She's got a proper
acting
job.
Yeah, she's
doing
busy.
That blind spot. There we go. Got there in the end. So Seb's got May Parker and Ned after 2 rounds. Solid picks, I think. Nothing too flashy.
May Parker's an interesting one.
It's an interesting one. It's out there, but
I would say it's more likely than Daredevil. But
I had to pick somebody.
Of course.
I mean, so far only me and Angela have really delved into those other columns early on. So other than Rando, but that does Rando.
Well, I was fairly certain with one of my picks that no one else is choosing them, and therefore I've left them towards the end of my list so I can get my primary picks.
Cosmo the Wonder Dog.
You what? How do you know?
I have spies. Paul, Black Panther, Star-Lord, pretty solid. pretty solid.
Star-Lord is an interesting one because from something that I read, I wish I could give you the source of it, I cannot remember. But basically, the next Guardians movie, they want to make it more about Gamora than Peter Quill, who's had his 2 movies in the center of it. They stop well short of saying that he's dead, but to say that he's not going to be a central focus almost makes me wonder if they're going to comatose him or take him out of the picture entirely.
There's still a half a point there in it for you. So
of course, he'll certainly. Well, we know he appears.
Yeah, definitely.
Survival.
We'll see. Angela's added Professor X. This whole Fox thing, X said it could do anything. Like I don't like it's really a shot in the dark with those ones. Obviously the deal hasn't actually gone through yet.
Yeah, it's not expected to actually be completed until the middle of next year or middle of this year, which is why we're seeing
the end of this year. Yeah,
we're seeing Dark Phoenix and New Mutants being delayed, and you've got to wonder how much that's got to do with this deal. Like, are they being told to hold back on it, or is it a choice they've made? They're not telling us, or they're certainly not telling us what we think we want to hear. I wanted that New Mutants movie. It looked quite good.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. Stobie's got a couple of solid picks with Ant-Man and Spider-Man, and then you've got Bucky and Black Widow.
Black Widow,
I think, yeah.
I feel that she's not been confirmed for her solo movie, but they've recently attached a director. They've recently apparently assigned a director to the project. Can't remember him for the life of me. Yeah. It's not been confirmed, so I wouldn't even drop the name until it's been confirmed. No. But I mean, the talk's never really gone away about this movie. They've been talking about it since
Budapest.
Phase 1, since Budapest. It would have to be a flashback movie, of course. And it needs to be about the Red and the Ledger.
Exactly.
Would that not?
No, yeah, go ahead.
So would that not perhaps be the tagline of the movie? Red, I mean,
there's already a Red movie out there.
Well, yeah, Retired, Extremely Dangerous. It's different.
It's a good movie. I enjoyed that one. But anyway, back to the draft. We're gonna have to pick this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Rando.
So
Rando's pick number 1 again this time.
Rando column is going to be 3 again. What are you playing at? And the number is 26.
26 is Nightcrawler. Kurt Wagner. Certainly not the worst choice on that list.
No, it's probably the most likely of the 2 that have already appeared on this list.
I've put some really obscure names in there.
Yeah.
Like I put the Cloak and Dagger on there.
Yeah.
So we're not like Kurt Wagner at least has actually appeared in a movie.
Not some obscure show on some obscure channel somewhere.
Cool. So Rando's doing their thing. So it's me next, and this is the first of my big shouts because I sort of went back and forth on this about. I'm going with the Hulk.
Oh,
Bruce Banner. That is my 3rd round pick. I think that's a pretty solid shout.
You're not making me very happy though.
Sorry.
You won't like me when I'm angry.
You're not that much taller when you're angry. So. So we now move to Seb, and I think Seb's about to make a few people a little bit unhappy because he's about to take someone that I think a lot of people have been quite interested in, Shuri.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen her on a couple of other lists.
Yeah, she's pretty high up on my list, which is annoying, but
what can you do?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, we could have done something about this, but you said no.
It's all in the matter of fairness, I feel.
Yeah.
So.
They were too busy for us.
Exactly.
We could have played God, but no, you chose to be on the side of good.
Wow. Gotta have integrity.
No. I'm not going to argue. No.
Okay, so that's
Killer Vanilla.
Killer Vanilla. Who's he going with? We've gone
Drax the Destroyer.
Pretty solid shout, I think.
Well, we know he's appearing, but I don't think he's going to make it to the end of the movie.
Really?
Well, you
I can see
remember
that.
when he charged down Ronan the Accuser and got his
yes,
ass
yes.
promptly
Actually,
kicked.
yeah.
What's his mission all about? Avenging his family, who gave the order.
Exactly. Going after the big man himself, and there is no.
Yeah, I don't think he's long for this world, and I'm pretty sure I know when it happens.
There've been a few clips that I think I've seen something similar.
You're probably drawing from the same theory I'm drawing from.
Exactly. We're talking very vaguely here. We don't want to give away too many spoilers, but not really spoilers. There's just clips you can find
Theories.
on the internet. Right. So now we're into.
Next up is your other half.
My other half. My significant other.
Yes.
And in a bout of utter craziness.
She married you.
She did marry me. She agreed to say yes. She's gone back to the TV pool again.
What?
I know. It's a crazy tactic.
You're mad woman.
I think she's sort of locking down those big points early on. And she's gone with Claire Temple. Which I think is an interesting shout. The Nick Fury of the Netflix
she's
of the Netflix shows.
Pretty much been in all of them minus Jessica Jones too.
Yeah, so I mean that's it's a really solid pick, I think.
Yeah, I would agree.
And
I didn't pick her, but I certainly would have considered her.
Yeah. And it sort of frees up those sort of last little picks. So she's gone big got in early, got those big names in, and we'll see how it goes. So what is David's next pick?
Well, Stobie wants Doctor Strange, or Mr. Doctor.
Mr. Doctor. Hair Doctor.
Mr. Doctor. Hair Doctor.
It's very strange. I know.
Well, who am I to judge?
Using his made-up names. Which I still think is the greatest joke in that trailer. Is just
so we're using our made-up names.
So
then in that case, I'm Spider-Man.
I think Doctor Strange is a good shot. He's definitely going to be in there. Whether he survives...
they haven't confirmed his second movie yet, which I think is interesting.
And Mr. Cumberbatch has been chatting about it a bit.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that all plays out.
So that brings us back to my next pick.
Your next pick, sir. I'm just very quickly blacking out other names from the list.
My next pick is who I think is the most powerful of our group of Avengers, and it's Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch is a really good shout, I think. I think she's going to play a big role.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of the actress herself, so that's kind of biased my opinion a little bit of her. But the character herself, I mean, comic book wise, she is certainly one of the most powerful characters that they have to choose from.
Yeah.
We've not really seen much of her powers, but like yourself, I just recently rewatched Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
And it's got a couple of really interesting points that, it's not necessarily that I missed them, but they seem a lot more relevant now. She overwrites the mind control from Loki's scepter on Dr. Cho.
Yeah.
She overrules an Infinity Stone. That's huge.
Is that because she is essentially begat from the Infinity Stone because she got her
Perhaps
from it?
But that means she can negate that stone. We've already seen her take on Vision, who is also from this, like that he is the stone.
Yeah.
But regardless of whether it's because she's from that stone, she can overpower an Infinity Stone. That's huge.
That is big power.
The other show of great power that we've seen of her is when her somewhat super fast brother gets himself shot and she vaporizes a number of Ultron bots.
Yeah.
And
it'd be interesting to see if they do go down that whole thing.
I think they do, and I think we've seen it in one of the trailers.
Yeah.
It's when they're inside that big dome-like area where they're trying to hold off the Outriders.
Okay.
And you see her, she's rising up, and you see a couple of other people around her who are getting up behind her. I think Vision's maybe just bitten the dust, and she's ended the first wave.
I think it'll be interesting. I do think she's up there, like, and to use comic parlance, she's definitely up there as an Omega level character. Definitely in sort of that high levels. So that's round 3. We're going to move quickly on to round 4. So try and keep us, we want a schedule here. Kev, who's your number 4 pick?
My number 4 pick is Mantis.
Mantis. Nice.
Yes.
She's actually quite high up on my list as well, I think.
You're welcome.
Which
You're
is
returning me for my next round.
Oh yeah. Obviously brought in the Last Guardians movie.
Yeah.
An interesting character, different dynamic to deal with. I think that's a pretty solid shout, actually.
I thought so.
Yes. Sorry, just very quickly blacking it. There we go.
So next up is Stobie.
Oh.
I'm just about getting the hang of which window is which now. So he wants Captain America Steve Rogers as his next pick.
Steve Rogers. See,
you know he's appearing.
He's appearing.
And we know he's in the next one. But is it a flashback?
Is it a flashback? Is it
I think
universe?
so. I think so.
Is it a timeline thing?
I think he's done.
You think he's done? I mean, we've had all the stories about the contracts. I do feel like.
I mean,
Chris Evans wants to go off and do something else now,
which I think he's more than earned. I mean, he's taken a character that I couldn't give a single rat's ass about beforehand and made me like him. That, for me, is huge. I didn't like Captain America. Perhaps it's because I'm not American. Perhaps it's just because he seems like a boring Superman-esque character. But he made him likeable, and I think that's really endeared him to a lot of people.
He has taken the character like way further than certainly the original concept. And I think a lot of that comes down to these twists that we've seen in the likes of Winter Soldier and Civil War. You see that it's not just a case of he's a chest thumping Americanisto. He's actually a
truth, justice, and the American way.
Exactly. And like he's a nuanced character, and that's what you want to see.
Yeah.
So no, I think whatever happens to him in the movie will be interesting. Like I don't know whether they'll actually kill him. Will he be time wibbled to? Will
he go and join his old friend, like Schmid? Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows?
Well, we'll know soon, but not soon enough.
So we'll move into the next one, which is Angela, and she's now into the MCU now, and she's
it's about time.
Yeah, she's got to get there sometime. She's got Thor. Obviously, we know he's in the movie. Definitely going to be in there, so he's a pretty solid shout.
But has he done well enough to move into the next phase? I don't know.
Yeah, there's obviously all this sort of chat
about
what's
the success of Ragnarok reignites the interest in seeing another Thor movie. But
will he become sort of like that? Does he need his own series now anymore? Does he just turn up in other people's?
Does he become the Iron Man of the next phase?
Exactly.
Yeah.
In that sort of Odin-esque overseer role.
With the idea of going for a changing of the guard, I feel like we need to see a lot of the original roster, if not dead, stepped well back from the movies, and that's why very few of them appear on my list, because though we know they appear, do we see them go further?
But there's the kicker. Do you want to get the definite points, or do you want to play it a little bit more riskier?
Yep, that's the one.
Cool. So we've done Angela. We're into Paul.
Paul is up next, and he's went with another safe bet with Rocket Raccoon.
Rocket Raccoon. Yep.
Everybody loves the full little trash
badger.
Trash badger.
Something like that.
It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Love it.
Definitely. Like I think he's just definitely sort of strong shout to survive. I think he's definitely.
I think he and 2 other Guardians are safe. How safe the other ones are, I'm less certain.
I have a thing where I'm like, there's a couple of Guardians that I think are very much on the bubble.
Yeah.
And there's some where I'm like, I don't know if they'll make it through.
There's 2 that I am very certain are dying.
Okay.
One that I'm even more certain of than before, but we can get into that after the next round of picks, because somebody's picking them in that round, providing someone doesn't pick them beforehand.
Right, so next pickup is Seb, and his 5th on his list, because I don't have anything, is Mr. Fantastic Reed Richards.
I know for a fact he's just screwed everyone over because I think
Pretty much.
that's the one that everyone was banking on from that external column. I think
Yeah, it's a pretty solid shout.
of all the ones in there, I think he's got to be one of the most likely to appear. So much so that he was my pick. Thanks for that, Seb.
Well, that's the whole point of the game, really, isn't it? It's all
You know,
over the place.
of all the people who were picking, I was certain that it was going to be Rando that screwed everyone over. But
I
so
think
far,
it's been quite interesting to see how it's all played out, actually.
stupid Rando.
Yeah, stupid rando. So I'm up next. I'm back into the MCU again, and I'm going Maria Hill.
Maria Hill, solid shout. Has to
Solid shout.
appear. Has to appear.
Has to appear. Whether she survives, I don't know, but I definitely think she's going to be in there somewhere.
I think she's enough of a background character that she'll be safe from the initial fallout. Who's to say? She's your human. She's your average
She's
Joe.
sort of that sort of second line to to Nick Fury. If Nick Fury goes down, then she'll step in, and she's got a depth of character in there. They just haven't gotten to her yet.
Just that's the victim of being in such a huge universe without stepping into the TV series to have the expansions in there. The movies just don't have the time. They have to prioritize the bigger characters, and that's just the way of it.
Okay, shall we throw that grenade again?
Next up is Rando picking from column 2.
Column 2, well, that gets that out of the way.
Column 2, 48. I don't think it goes as... Roll again.
Yep.
36.
36 is the Punisher Frank Castle.
Ooh.
Someone who could actually turn up.
Your most solid pick so far, you stupid fruit.
He's on my list of people to potentially appear. So
I toyed with that idea.
I think he's on a few people's lists, actually.
I wouldn't be surprised at all to find that he's a solid pick to put in there. Very solid
he's
pick.
Actually on... All but Stobie and you probably have him, I think.
He wasn't on my list. I did toy with having him on there, but I chose not to in the end.
Yeah, he wasn't high on my list of. So I essentially had a little list of my
rotationals
to TVs, my people sort of lower down on that little list. So my 5th round pick is the man who has not actually appeared in any of the trailers yet. And I don't know if this is a gamble that's going to pay off.
You're skipping Rando's 5th pick.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no. Yeah, sorry. I completely forgot. I apologise. We'll go back.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Who's he going to get?
So, Rando is going for column 1.
Uh-oh. Not
Number
24.
12.
Number 12 is Cosmo. Cosmo the Wonder Dog.
You know what? Me open. I'm pretty sure that's actually going to be in there when we go in nowhere.
I think he'll be. Yeah, I think he'll be there in the background of one of the scenes.
I don't think he's surviving though.
No. So my pick is the man who hasn't appeared in any trailers, Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And it's got everyone talking, and it's got me slightly worried. But I thought, you know what?
Everybody's wanting to know where Clint is. Nobody's asking how Clint is.
So yeah, he's there, and I want to know where's Hawkeye, guys? Where's Hawkeye?
What's going on? Yeah, you can't build him up to be this huge mother hen and then just forget about him.
Exactly. I mean, they don't work without him apparently.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my pick. He says very quickly, jumping around, deleting people.
Seb up next, then.
It is Seb next. Who's Seb's next pick? Seb's next pick is Wong. Wong. Seen him in the trailers.
He's there.
He's
we know
definitely
that.
there. He was one of the guys who was high up on my list as well, which is a little annoying. I think he's quite high on a lot of people's lists.
Most people. He's on 2 of the other lists, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, he's definitely in and
Spoiler alert, it's not mine.
No. Cool. So having a quick scan round and drop him from people's lists. Right, so we've done Seb. I think it's Killer Vanilla next, isn't it?
Killer Vanilla wants Gamora.
Oh,
who doesn't want a bit of Gamora? I mean,
well, yeah. I've read a few things, and I've seen a few things, and I'm a little. I sort of thought she was okay, and now I'm a little concerned she's not going to be okay.
Well, see, I'm very much like yourself. I think we've probably read the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So tying back into what I had said earlier, that the next Guardians film's to be more about Gamora. So that's thrown my theory out the window. But I'm pretty sure that Thanos kills her for disobeying him. And
yeah, see, that's sort of my logic as well, and sort of
there's
potentially
there's a scene where it looks like Tony is holding Peter Quill back on Titan, and I think it's because he's just seen Thanos kill Gamora.
So yeah, that's very much the same sort of logic I had. So
yeah,
we shall see how that
one
plays out.
One of these theories is really wrong, but then potentially she could come back. That's the whole thing, isn't it?
I mean, this is the whole thing. Like, it's all a bit of fun to try and work it all out. So moving on from Paul back into Angela again. Her next picks. All her picks are now back from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Have we picked Thor?
Thor's gone, yeah.
Oh yes, sorry. I'm completely I didn't even take it off our own list. Oh, it's very late. Oh man. So she's not picking Thor a second time. She's picking Nakia from
nice.
Black Panther.
Hasn't appeared in any footage,
but I think again there's a lot of characters.
She has to be there. I mean,
yeah, she's got to be around somewhere. I mean, she's
going to be the queen. She's got to be there.
Super.
Is she going to see it to the end? Well,
we'll see. Could be some great angst for Black Panther. Something to really get his teeth into or claws into.
Both.
Ho 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 ho.
Ho 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 ho.
Right.
Okay, Java. So next up is Stobie's pick. He wants Johann Schmidt.
Johann Schmidt. Now this is a little out left field, but I think it's a pretty good shout.
It's a great shout. He's not in the lists itself. Like, he wasn't a character we'd considered.
No, we sort of talked. We had a discussion about villains and dead villains.
You can pull in any character of any Marvel origins that you wish.
Yeah,
that's your list. Throw whoever you want in there, as long as you pick from all three columns at least once.
So that's a pretty solid.
I think so. There's a popular theory that the Black Order are going to be some sort of reincarnation of villains they've faced previously. I don't think that's going to be how it turns out, but it's a safe bet. I think we're going to see him at least in a flashback form. I mean,
yeah.
But then Hugo Weaving said he didn't want to play the character again. So
I thought he'd said he was actually.
He's since gone back on that. Yeah, he's since gone back on it. You would too if you'd seen the amount of money you could earn.
Yeah. Bearing in mind, like, a lot of the comments that we're making here, this is all just hypothesis.
Of course,
we don't know anything better than anyone else. We're just
know as much as we do, but you've maybe not watched the trailers as much as I have.
No, yeah, or not quite as much. But so we've got that.
So next up, it was my fifth pick. I had initially wanted Bruce Banner, but somebody stole him from me.
Sorry, buddy. You gotta get in there.
You're not sorry.
I'm not sorry at all.
So, moving on to my next pick, which is Nebula, because I think she has to survive if her sister dies.
That's a pretty strong shout. I mean, I know from the comics that she plays a pretty central role.
She's pivotal, yeah. Whether that's the route they go with.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be more like the Infinity series rather than the Infinity War.
Yeah, I think they're picking and choosing all the stuff that they want, which
certainly
of course you expect.
With the use of the Black Order. But again, we'll see how that all plays out. We've got about 20 minutes to get through these next 3 rounds, I think. So
I think we can do this. We can step it up a bit, though.
Step it up a bit. So
my next pick
round
then.
6.
Round 6, pick 1 for me was actually a series of other characters ranging from Black Panther to Spider-Man, but you greedy buggers have already snaffled them all up.
Yeah, see, that's what happens when you hold off.
I'm having to default to Kraglin, my 14th pick.
Kraglin, oh,
the new Guardians of the Galaxy.
Exactly, with his new, is it Yucca plant?
Yakaro, yeah.
Yakara,
yeah. So my theory is that the Guardians are dismantled, much like the rest of the heroes are. But in their wake is the new Guardians, which that's the last 3 picks on my list. You've got Mantis, Nebula, and Kraglin. Yeah. I do also think that either Groot or Rocket will survive. I don't think we'll see both of them.
I think Crackle's a good shout. Even just appear and be there, I think.
He's going to be there. Whether he survives, I'm less certain of that.
Yeah, definitely. Right.
So Stobie next.
So he's still in the MCU, I think.
Yeah, he wanted Black Widow next. Sorry, pal. Then his next MCU pick was Scarlet Witch. Sorry, pal. He then wanted Hawkeye.
Sorry,
You're
pal.
not having a good time. Then it was Bruce Banner. Oh,
Sorry,
Jesus.
pal.
Maria Hill, Bucky Barnes, Rocket, Groot, Drax, Star-Lord. Pick number 20, Helen Cho.
Helen Cho. Again,
But
not seen
I'm
since...
going to throw this out there. If you remember a conversation we had previously, he wanted to double down that Lady Death appears.
This is true, yeah. This is a conversation we had recently where he was convinced that Lady Death was going to appear. I was like, I don't think so.
Liar.
And we did we joked about forcing him to take Lady Death, but then we're not doing that because that's mean. And he's not here.
Just give me a second then.
Frank.
Okay, Helen Cho.
Helen Cho.
Fine, if you insist.
Helen Cho is on his list. So we'll move.
As well having Lady Death.
Yeah, I'm not going to be mean. Like this is the order he picked him in. So
yeah, he's not here to defend himself.
Exactly.
Get a few kicks in while you can.
Yeah, exactly, and then. Okay, so into Angela's pick. She's still back from the MCU, and it's Okoye, leader of the
Dora Milaje.
Dora Milaje, yeah. I mean, again, I think it's a pretty solid shout. We definitely know she's going to be.
You may also know her as Michonne.
Exactly, as Michonne, or on that TV show that you guys have watched and I haven't.
Yes,
because I'm a bad nerd.
Not watching it might be one of the best things you could do, to be honest.
I hear things. People talk about stuff.
You hear that?
I understand the words individually, but when they're put together, it's all nonsense to me. So, cool. So that's Angela.
Next up is Killer.
Killer Vanilla. Okay.
So he wanted Scarlet Witch, then Wong, then Groot, but all three have been snaffled. So he's not having to go quite as far down his list as some other people. Yeah. He's at his number 10. He's wanting W'Kabi.
W'Kabi. Now, I haven't seen him in any of the trailers.
Neither have I.
But he's still around.
He's alive.
He's definitely alive.
They're definitely going to need all the arms they can get. It makes sense. To be honest.
Definitely makes sense that he's on that list. Whether he actually does appear,
or if they just don't mention him just for the sake of it, yeah. Yeah, it's not a bad pick. Certainly not a bad pick.
It wasn't something I picked because I was like, I don't think we're going to see him, but you never know. You can never really tell with a lot of these.
For what it's worth, had it been me, I'd have chosen his next pick, but what are you going to do?
Exactly.
What are you going to do?
We've already set the rules. We can't break them. Can't break them at all.
Not this time.
So we're into Seb now, and Seb, his next pick is Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. Rumoured to be turning up at some point.
I've seen so many breakdowns of the trailers, and there's so many people that are adamant you can see her in the background of one of the corridor scenes where the Avengers are walking through.
I've looked at that same picture, and I'm looking at it going, it's clearly Scarlet Witch.
It's not yet. It's not Carol Danvers. They wouldn't make that mistake. I mean, they were clever enough to digitally reinsert or not remove Thor's eye. I suppose depends how you want to look at it. In one of the trailers for Ragnarok, they're not going to be stupid enough to put that spoiler in there.
There's a lot of stuff going on like in these things. I don't think they're going to throw away something like that. Like they're clearly sort of using certain bits and pieces to keep us on our toes. We'll see how it all plays out. So. But I think she'll turn up. I think she might appear in one of the. I don't think it's
unlikely.
No, definitely not. So in a fortuitous turn of events, my next pick, and I think this is kind of sweet in a little bit of a way. My next pick, after having picked Clint Barton, Hawkeye, is Laura Barton, Mrs. Hawkeye.
Mrs. Hawkeye.
Mrs. Hawkeye. Linda Cardellini, or Linda Cardellini. I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce it.
That woman off that thing.
That woman, is the secret weapon from Age of Ultron. I think it's a pretty good pick. I'm quite pleased with that.
Not entirely unlikely. Again,
No,
is
definitely not.
she surviving? I mean,
Actually, no, I have picked her. I'm sorry, I have gone completely mad. That's not where my pick is, because my pick is from my external list.
oh,
Oh, I'm
see, you're
drunk.
changing the rules, man. You're
No,
changing the
no, no.
rules.
Sorry, I made a stupid. I made a boo boo. I've picked from the wrong column. My sixth pick is actually from the external list, and it is Mr. Snickety Snick,
Snickety snicks.
Wolverine, Logan. If they're going to drop him in, it's a good place to drop him.
I just hope he doesn't face the same kind of death that he faced in the comic. Oh, spoiler alert!
Oh,
If you
spoilers.
haven't read the comic, I mean, he dies miserably.
So yeah, sorry, I got excited there for Laura Barton. Nope, not getting Laura Barton.
Change
Not until
your mind.
next pick. Unless Rando screws me. But
Just
yeah, so
Mr. Avocado.
Mr.
You know, you
Avocado.
could
So yeah, so what is
maybe.
Mr. Avocado taking?
So column number 3.
Column 3. Back into that third column again. He's
Really liking that third column.
Big risk.
31 doesn't go as low as 31, does
31
it?
does. You know he does. It's
does it?
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk.
I mean, it's not unlikely, but it's not.
It's not terribly likely either, though. You know.
She was on my list, though, actually. So she was like 59 out of 60, so she's pretty low down the list. Oh, I blacked out.
Not on, it's not on my list. So
No.
I mean, so that's 3 picks out of that third column.
I think we'll probably say that's enough for that column.
I think we're going to have to
think
nix any
that's
more
only
from that
fair.
third column. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I was so certain that this was going to absolutely screw everyone over, and instead it's just screwed itself.
It's just
over.
taking punishment away from everyone, and that's it. Right, so let's get round 7 started because
round 7.
we're
Time
nearly
is getting away
there.
from us. So I'm going to change this so that it can only pick from columns 1 and 2.
Solid shout.
Because we're just a coin flip at this point, so it's 1.
Column 1, okay. Oh,
And number 42.
number 42. The meaning of life is Nebula. She's already gone.
Can't. She's out of there.
Re-roll.
Roll again. Keep rolling. 45.
45 is Nova Prime. Again, could appear. It's not. It's not
the
in the
most
realm.
outlandish thing that you've chosen.
No.
Not the most solid
No,
pick
not the
either.
solid pick, but yeah, it's definitely
Not
in
the
there.
most ridiculous.
I mean, Glenn Close was good in Guardians.
Yeah.
Well, she'd take the money.
I don't think she'll be surviving though.
No, definitely not. If the order of the stones
Nova
is what we
Prime.
think it
Nova
is.
Prime is no longer there.
No.
There's a big hole in the universe where Nova Prime used to be.
Exactly. Right. So then I'm just gonna use my time stone to go back in time and start this conversation again. Strangely, my next pick from the MCU is Laura Barton, Mrs. Hawkeye.
I'm having deja vu.
I
There's a
know.
glitch
It's
in the Matrix.
almost like we could get this cut out in the editing. So yeah. So
Cut
that's
here. Cut here.
cut here. Yeah. I mean, not much really to say about that. I've already talked about in the previous time I talked about it.
I didn't realise we were wanting to choose cannon fodder. I mean, if I'd known that, I'd have fluffed my list up
I think
nicely.
she's definitely in there somewhere. I'll take the point.
I'm
happy with the point at this stage.
I think they're going to make him a widow, which will be funny.
No.
A widower, I suppose.
Not sad Hawkeye. We don't need sad Hawkeye.
Even more sad Hawkeye.
Oh no.
All he's done is mope around as it is. Now we're just going to make him even more sad.
Nobody lets him in any of their trailers or anything like that. Right.
I do think there is a reason for that. I think he's part of the rescue mission for the next.
I think he's going to play a big part in Avengers 4, but we shall see. He has been seen on set, so
he's there.
he's definitely there. Whether he
we know
appears in the movie,
Yeah.
could be a post credits.
They're misleading us. He's in the final post-credits sequence
He takes down Thanos
with
There
one
we
of his
go.
trick arrows.
The movie spoiled it for everyone. I'm sorry about that.
I think I'd be even more annoyed with that than if it had been all a dream, to be honest with you.
Okay, so Seb's next pick, the man who directed the first Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, Jon Favreau, who shares a
Happy
birthday
Hogan.
with me.
Does he?
Hogan. Yeah, he does. Jon Favreau and Jon
Birthday
Favreau have the
buddies.
same birthday, So yeah, it's Happy Hogan onto the list there.
Yeah, good pick, good pick.
I think it's a pretty solid pick,
Yeah.
actually. I think he's
I
definitely
mean,
he's
I
been.
don't think he's surviving. I mean, I don't think he suffers the same fate as what I think somebody in that Iron Man armor suffers.
No,
But
we'll
we'll
see
not
how
get
that
into that
plays
because
out.
I'm pretty certain that's a fact. So we'll not get into that.
Yeah, we're not talking in those levels. Oh, not Black Devil either. Sorry,
So
I
next
keep
up
catching
is Killer Vanilla's seventh pick. He wants M'Baku.
M'Baku.
He's in there,
He's
and we've
definitely in
seen
there. He's
him
in one of the background scenes.
leading
I
the
think this is a
charge.
yeah. Like I said, I think he sort of almost stole the show in Black Panther a
Yeah,
little
it
bit.
was a decent amount of comedy, but at the same time, it wasn't overly done, which some of the Marvel movies recently have suffered from.
Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok.
Thor Ragnarok. I don't know, Thor was sort of marketed in that sort of level, but
It's
I
meant
think
to
it
be
was.
the end of things. It's not meant to be funny.
Sometimes you want to have funny though, and
Sometimes, not 90% of the time.
okay, we'll agree to disagree.
Moving on.
Moving on. So who's next? We've had Killer Vanilla. He's
So
gone
it's Angie.
Baku. It is now Angela. Angela's next pick from the MCU is Mr. Boring, as you've referred to him. He is Falcon, aka Sam Wilson. He's definitely there.
He's there.
Definitely
And
there. He's in the movie.
it's a 50-50 split for whether it's him or Bucky that take on the Captain Mantle once
Yeah.
Captain America snuffs it.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if even if it's a case of like
They
if Bucky
share
takes it over. I mean, you've got the whole Bucky Falcon relationship
But
going
yeah,
in there.
they did sort of toy with that. So
And it was just one of the best scenes in that
whichever,
movie.
oh definitely, whichever way around it goes, you know that it's going to be funny. So
Yeah, it's definitely going to be funny.
I enjoy seeing them work together. More Bucky for me is fine.
Yeah. Right, Mr. Stobie. Second
Mr.
last pick.
Stobie, where are you? He wanted M'Baku. You can't have him.
He can't. I mean, he also has to pick from the. I think his next pick is from the TV.
Oh, right
runs.
enough. Yeah, he's not. I missed
he's
that
all- he's
because
all
that's where I've moved my wee chat box to. It's covering that. So his next pick is, well, it was meant to be Phil Coulson, but you stole him.
Yeah, a long time
You
ago.
you done stole that one. So he is having Robbie Reyes, Ghost
Robbie
Rider.
Reyes from Ghost Rider. Again,
Solid pick.
Solid pick.
Solid
They did a
pick.
really good job with him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, he was
I think
phenomenal.
he was
Definitely
so good
one
in
of the
that movie.
highlights of the series,
That's
not
right.
just that season.
And it's such a great telling of the character as well.
Oh, it was so well done.
Definitely. And oh yeah,
One,
just,
I think they won a lot of viewers back on with him. It
definitely.
was phenomenal.
Right, so I'll blank that one out there. Okay. Second last pick, penultimate pick. Make it count, Kev, because you're about to do your last pick in a second.
Well, it was Mr. Fantastic, but he's
He's
done
gone.
stole him from me. So I'm going to have to go with a character who was meant to appear in Thor Ragnarok, but had to be cut. So it's Beta Ray Bill.
Beta Ray Bill, going to the externals. Yeah, see, with the talk of this new weapon, which I believe is a weapon that
Was wielded by certain characters.
was wielded by certain characters that will be in the movie. It's a good shout. He's sort of in the. Yeah, I mean that's a pretty good.
Seemingly,
it was
Taika Waititi, he had said that they had filmed scenes with Beta Ray Bill, and you see an image on the that Tower of Champions that they'd constructed that Hulk stayed in.
Yeah.
One of the images, if it's not Beta Ray Bill, then it's someone of that race.
Yeah.
I mean, they stopped just short of confirming that he's in there, and that's my thinking behind him being there. I don't know how likely he is to appear, but of all the characters to pick from that external column, I don't know. I think he's about the safest you could choose.
Pretty much, I think it's that outside column is tricky. It's tricky. Right.
So final round.
Final round. Let's get this put to bed.
So we can go to bed.
Yeah, so we can go to bed. Your last pick, it's going to be from the TV column.
Yep. So both of my picks have already been picked. Stobie snuck in there just beforehand.
Oh, did you not have any more redundancies?
I did.
You did? Oh, thank
Right
goodness.
at the bottom, number 24, Melinda May.
Melinda May. Oh, excellent choice.
I toyed so much between her and Quake, but I just, even with the direction that the show has taken this season, trying to avoid making any spoilers, I feel like she is, with the exception of Phil Coulson, the most likely to appear, because
Definitely.
she would be his number 2. But of course, F and F and F.
Ifs and buts and maybes, you know what I mean? That's the thing. I mean, that's a pretty good shout, I think. I know she definitely made Angela's list for one of the sort of lower shouts.
Yeah.
But obviously, he's never got there with the picks. But definitely interesting shouts. Who is Stobie getting as his
So
last
Stobie's final pick. It's from the externals, and
it's isn't it?
It's Wade Wilson.
Wade Wilson, Deadpool. See, this is another really like
It's
that 50-50.
Potentially,
You know what I mean?
potentially so meta. I mean, the trailers that they've released about for the Deadpool movie so far have already poked fun at Infinity War. For him to appear in there would just be hilarious, and I'd love to see it.
It would be just amazing to see that connection and just the whole. Oh well, everything's gone utterly crazy.
There's just Deadpool in the background sipping tea or something.
Oh, that's strange.
He looks like some guy I know.
Don't I know you from that place? You know.
With the thing.
Yeah, I think he'd be happy with that. I mean, he's definitely happy with it. I definitely think he'd be happy with Deadpool. Right, Angela's last pick is Agent 13, Sharon Carter.
Oh, good pick.
Good pick. Again, not. I haven't seen her anywhere, but again, no less likely to appear in a very brief scene for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I definitely think there's potential there.
She has to be in there, but then does she? I mean,
doesn't have to survive. That's the thing.
No.
There's still points.
I think it's likely she'll be in there.
She's definitely not unlikely to turn up.
I have just stumbled across a mistake that I've made in the last round with Paul's list.
Have you?
Yeah, he should have picked from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. column.
But it won't actually affect anything because his next pick is Quake, I think.
It could have. His pick would have been Quake.
But I don't think anyone else.
But because I hadn't. Yeah, nobody's taken him back, so I'm just editing that now, putting him out and replacing him with Quake. So his 7th pick is Quake, and that's fixed. Thankfully, that could have been an absolute disaster.
We're on for our continuity here. Right. So Sharon Carter's there. It's now Paul's last shout. He's
final
from the
pick.
External.
It has to be from the external. At least I'll get this one right. He wanted Professor X, She-Hulk, Wolverine, and finally Namor.
Namor is one he will get. Again, could happen. It's out there, but
discount Seaman, even though he came first, but you know.
Exactly. Well, he's a mutant now, isn't he, in the stories?
Yeah, but the MCU has been very clear about their usage of the word mutants until now. It's enhanced
change
people.
Eventually.
We'll see.
So he finished off with Namor. So Seb's last pick will be, because he hasn't had anything from the TV column yet, so it's going to be from the TV column. And the first name we come to is Black Bolt from Inhumans.
Huge in the comic. Don't bet on him or any of them appearing.
I had a conversation with Seb recently, and he was just like, "Don't watch Inhumans. It's rubbish. It's just hot garbage."
I have had one person tell me that it was good. Everybody else that I've spoken to has said that it is amongst the worst thing that they've ever subjected themselves to. Yeah. And I know some weird people, they do weird things, so when they're saying that,
let's face it, Kev, you're a weird person who does weird things. I'm a weird person who does weird things. Yes. That's why we're all here. This is a weird thing to be doing.
So if these people are telling you not to watch this horrendous show that looked horrendous, and that was clearly an afterthought to everybody involved with the Marvel Universe, they didn't want it. They should have just let it die. They should have let Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have it, but they didn't.
No. And I think I saw the trailer for it, and I saw Medusa's hair, and I went, well,
it's so bad.
Yeah, it's so bad. Like, Lockjaw looked all right.
Seemingly,
that was about it.
seemingly Lockjaw stole the show.
Pretty much.
A digital dog stole the show. Can we just let that sink in?
Anyway,
Moving
getting
on.
back on to, because we're nearly done. We've got two
So
more
close
picks
to
left.
the end.
Exactly. So much. We're nearly done here. And there's still a lot of names left, actually. More names than I thought were going to be. My last pick has ended up being somehow, and I'm not entirely sure how, because considering there's a couple more on the list that I think... Actually, no. I'm probably pretty solid with this. Is... Hey, everyone. Future Stu here. So, we made a little bit of a boo-boo on the podcast, which we didn't catch at the time. And that's caused us to have a bit of a problem with the draft. So remember that time a minute ago when Paul was drafting M'Baku and then we realised he shouldn't have been drafting M'Baku and drafted Quake instead? Well, when that happened, we took M'Baku off the board but forgot to put him back on the board. So when it comes to my turn right now, I can't see that M'Baku's on the board, so I pick Pepper Potts, which I shouldn't have done because M'Baku was further up my draft list. So this is me explaining to you why we're fixing the problem. So every time I say Pepper Potts from now on, I'm actually meaning M'Baku. Is that confusing? Not as confusing as me talking to you from the future. So there you go. Who knew all this drafting would be so complicated? But hey, 55 draws out of 56 ain't too bad. So I'm going to send you guys back to past Stu and past Kev for the rest of the draft. Later, peeps. Or should that be earlier? Stupid time travel. Did you hear that?
No, nothing at all.
Oh, anyway, as I was saying, Mrs. Tony Stark.
Mrs. Tony Stark.
Mrs. Tony Stark.
Mrs. Tony Stank.
Tony Stank.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she appears. I'm even more certain. I'm pretty certain she doesn't, but you know, theory talk. That's for another day.
Yeah, no, there's not much time before Infinity War comes out now, anyway. So we'll see how that goes. So finally,
the final pick.
It's the avocado.
The avocado.
The avocado was going to
column 1.
Column 1. Oh god, here we go.
And my browser has just crashed. Give it a second.
Oh no! Random
Rolling.
numbers are too much for it.
31.
31 is Korg.
Korg, beautiful.
How did we manage to still get someone who hasn't been on that list? That's really
You know what?
impressive. He could be there.
He has to be there because he's on that ship.
He's on that ship.
I don't think he's long for the world like that.
No,
Anyone
I
on that
don't
ship.
think that opening scene is going to end well. Korg, I mean, that's a, even by random numbers, that's pretty good.
I think that's a really good pick. It's probably actually the best pick that they've got on that list. Not saying much with a list that includes Nightcrawler and Jubilee.
But that's a separate list. Oh yeah, this is true. His list. Yeah, his picks are a bit... Their picks, sorry. Again, we'll go back to getting on the right side. So, looking at those picks, who has not been picked that we think is being missed out? And who do we think has the strongest shout?
So, just browsing down this list. I mean, nobody picked Loki.
Nobody picked Tony.
I mean, I don't think that's too much of a surprise. Yeah. Who else wasn't? Vision. I mean,
Vision wasn't picked. Yeah, we know he's there. Iron Man.
Yeah.
No, not Iron Man. I said Iron Man.
War Machine.
War Machine's still on there. Valkyrie's still on there. Nick Fury.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really good names that are still on this on list 1 that were not picked.
Yeah.
I was quite surprised.
Thaddeus Ross we had on there. He was a bit of an outsider.
Yeah.
Heimdall, obviously he's on that ship.
Yeah.
Could probably potentially go the same way as Korg, but Eric Selvig.
Yeah. I mean, you've got a lot of secondary characters that could have appeared, and Daenerys Grey. I mean, Darcy Lewis. There's not too much of an outside of a shout. Hank Pym.
Hank Pym, yeah. I mean, there's also rumours going around that Janet Van Dyne's going to be in the movie.
Yeah, not a terrible surprise. It would be. I mean.
But yeah, okay. So how are you feeling about your picks? How they've ended up?
I got most of the picks that I wanted. I think only was fifth, seventh, and eighth picks. I think I had to go with my
Bucky, Black Widow,
rotationals.
Scarlet Witch, Mantis, Nebula, Kraglin, Beta Ray Bill, and Melinda May.
Seen a lot of women on my list.
There's a lot of women on that list, but I think
A lot of pretty women. They're all pretty. Of course, all women are pretty.
I mean, Bucky Barnes isn't anything to sniff at, so...
Wouldn't kick him out of bed, mostly because he'd strangle me or my parents.
With his big metal arm.
Oh, it's so big. Sound bites. Yeah, I'm really happy with my list. The character I'm least happy with is Beta Ray Bill, and even with that, I'm not terribly unhappy.
It's not an outside shite, that's the thing. We don't know what's going to happen. And like Beta Ray Bill is part of the Marvel. I think the right to do belong to Marvel, so
I believe so.
Anything could happen. Am I happy with my list? Let's have a look at my list. Groot, Daredevil, Hulk, Maria Hill, Hawkeye, Wolverine, Laura Barton, Pepper Potts. It's a pretty good list, I think.
Yeah,
even though it's
some
all
good
played
names
out.
in there.
I mean, my non-MCU shouts are a bit out there. Wolverine. They need to recast him at some point. Obviously, or you may not even have to. They might.
I do not envy them at all. Like, what do you do there? It's very similar as to the whole situation with what you do with Leia with the Star Wars universe. I mean, what do you do?
There's a lot of talk of Scott Eastwood coming in to be Wolverine.
Even before they'd killed off Logan with the phenomenal movie, you know that there was already talk of Scott Eastwood coming in after.
There's been a lot of reviews coming out of Pacific Rim where he apparently just cannot act, and I'm a little worried about that. Plus, he's still tall, he's still good looking. Wolverine shouldn't.
He's not meant to be.
He's not meant to be. Do you know whose name popped up on something I read recently? And again, we'll move on to this very quickly. Scott Caan.
Right enough, yeah.
Scott Caan. He's from Hawaii Five-0. A little bit shorter, not your standard handsome guy, but he's got a good physique. I wouldn't say no to that. He's meets all the
requirements that you'd look for, but then, to be honest, you look beyond the physicality of the character as long as the performance is good, and I think that's why Hugh Jackman won so many people over. I mean, now when most people think of Wolverine, they'll think of him. Rather than the cartoon character that most people will also think of.
Exactly. Other people's picks. Seb got May Parker, Ned, Shuri, Mr. Fantastic, Wong, Captain Marvel, Happy Hogan, and Black Bolt. Some good picks in there. And there's some people who are going to be in there. Some out there picks, but some
very out there picks. Yeah.
There's points in those picks.
Definitely.
Oh, there's a catch line for the next time we do this.
Points in the picks.
Points in those picks. Killer Vanilla. I mean, other than maybe Wakabi and Quake and Namor, I mean, those top 5 shots are pretty good.
The problem with the TV and the external picks is that there were always going to be outsiders.
Yeah, definitely.
It was just a case of just how outside do you want to go? Do you want to go safe and go with someone like Beta Ray Bill, or do you want to be absolute nuts and go for Namor?
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, that was the other aspect of challenge. I mean, everyone sort of went. I mean, Paul, you, Stobie, and to a lesser extent, Seb. I mean, you guys left a lot of those picks late, whereas like Angela went in straight away.
Straight in there and got what she wanted.
I mean, she got what she wanted and got out. And she still got some good shouts. I mean, Phil
definitely
Coulson is probably the pick that I think everyone wanted from that Netflix TV show's column. And she just went, I'm having it, and took it, and it's left everyone with some interesting choices. And then she still walks away with Thor, Nakia, Okoye.
Some solid characters in that colored one. Yeah.
And then Stobie, his names are big. I think he could be the dark.
You know, Stobie likes it big though.
Oh yeah, of course. Spider-Man, Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, Captain America, Red Skull is a left field, but still, you know,
it's still a good name to put in there. Yeah.
Ghost Rider is not unheard of to pull it in there, specifically with you've got Doctor Strange floating around.
Well, with if you remember at the finale of last season when Ghost Rider vanished, he used a very similar technique to the sling rings. It looked when he was looping his chain around, it worked almost identical to a sling ring. So I don't think it's too much of an outside bet. And he did say he was fighting a cosmic war. So
exactly, anything could happen, and this is the thing. Infinity War. One of the joys I've had in this run-up is sitting, talking theories, talking talking what we think is going to happen, almost playing detective.
Yeah.
Because Marvel are doing such a good job of keeping everything under wraps. And I think I read an article recently where they're saying, like last week, where they're saying it's what, a week and a half out, and we still don't know anything.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
Nothing
We've seen
is set in
what
stone.
six TV spots and 2 trailers. But we still don't know anything.
Yeah.
I mean, we have some solid theories. We have some really good ideas, but we don't. Unless anyone's read any of the plot leaks, which I certainly haven't.
No,
we don't know. I'll always try and guess, or like I have ideas or theories about what will happen, but I don't want to know.
No.
I mean, I'd like to know that I'm right, but I'd rather watch it.
I think that's what this is. It's been a good chance to sort of sit and go. Like you could sit and you could do death lists, or you can do tables where you sort of say, is he going to live, is he going to die? This is a bit more interesting, a bit more of a challenge, a bit more of a thought exercise. Like, I'm genuinely surprised we've still got so many names left on the list. All everyone's lists, and it's been quite good fun to sit down and just go, oh, but where are we going to put this? I'm going to put this person above that person. Like, I wouldn't have picked Pepper Potts. Maybe I might have gone if I thought about it. Maybe I'd have gone with War Machine, but like I said, I locked those in early on, and I'm quite happy with who I've got. Like,
I don't think anyone can be terribly unhappy except Randall with their list. Well,
Randall will be happy with whatever they've got.
It's just an avocado. I know, they're easy pleased.
Exactly. So that is the draft of Doom. It's completed. We all have our shouts. We'll put this up on a website somewhere. We'll make sure it's all notified. We'll put up the big list of all that we drew from.
We drafted from
141 characters. Do you agree with how we picked? Should we have gone in another direction? Should we have picked other people first? Should we have left other people out? Are there names on that list that maybe we hadn't thought of?
Did we miss anyone? Yeah,
did we miss? There's still we said from the get-go, a lot of these characters and these lists weren't limited to, because Marvel has so many different characters. Like, there's all sorts of villains that could potentially turn up when you throw.
We limited this to the heroes characters more than anything.
Yeah. Otherwise, we just get out of control. But if you have anything you want to get in touch with us about, or if you want to say, oh my God, I can't believe you picked this, or that was a great shout, let us know. So we've got an email address. It's insidetheogrescavernpodcast@gmail.com. And you can also find us on the Twitter, on the Tweety box, at ITOC Podcast. So you can get in touch with us. We're getting that up and running. We also have a load of friends over at the Fair City Podcast Network.
FCPN.
FCP.net. You can find them on Twitter, FCPodNet. A whole bunch of podcasts are sort of grouping together to sort of help support each other and do a little bit of crossover. It's sort of what we're doing here. You can also find them on Facebook at facebook.com/FCPodNet. The song at the start of the show you will have heard is from Army of Freshmen. Graciously allowed us the opportunity to put that on there. Thank you very much to them.
We're not worthy.
We are not worthy indeed. Check them out. You can find them on YouTube and on
We'll
Spotify,
show them some love
and other things. And you can also catch them their podcast on there. There'll be links somewhere. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for being here, Kev. I know this has been a long time coming.
One of us is ready, the other one is not, and then vice versa.
Pretty much,
It's
then
been good
one
fun.
Of us dies. It's
throat AIDS.
Yeah, we didn't know if this was going to be a 3-person podcast for a while or a 2-person.
It was meant to be, but
been all over the place.
Down.
But we've got there at the end.
We got there.
I think first of all, I want to thank everyone who did the draws. So obviously, it's you and me. David Stobie at DStobie. You can find him online. Talking podcast, talking nerd, all those sorts of things. Killer Vanilla.
Bad jokes, don't forget the bad jokes.
Oh, the bad dad jokes, exactly. The Killer Vanilla Paul Watson is not on the Tweety box.
He's not on the social medias.
He's not on the social medias. He's gone
off
the
troglodyte.
Yeah. Well, no, I wouldn't say he's a troglodyte. he's clearly, people are listening to him. He's got to lay low. We don't know what he did in his past. But I mean,
some of us do, and that's why we know the life he's chosen. It's better this way.
Seb, obviously, Seb has provided, and he'll probably be on other episodes of the Inside the Ogres podcast to come. You can find him online. We'll get a link up for him. And I have to also thank very much my wife for putting all this together and putting up with me sitting in the living room for the last nearly 2 hours or an hour and a half talking, and she's only getting half of this conversation. So she has no idea what's been going on.
No change there then.
Exactly. Yeah, I just talk nonsense. And thanks to Rando as well, I suppose, for just being here.
Thanks for your entertainment, you stupid avocado.
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
And again, thank you to you, Kev, as well. Where can
people
find you on the Tweety Box or the internet?
People can find me at the Tweety Box at Kezijin. That's Kezijin.
Oh, with your fancy spellings.
It's not as fancy as it sounds. Yeah. And you'll also find me on the Facebook as well, using the same username.
Cool. So that's been the big draft of Doom. How do you think it went? Did it go well?
I think it went really well.
Cool.
If anyone's still listening at this point, thanks.
I mean, obviously, we'll see how it all plays out. Let us know. Keep in touch. Once the movie's out, we'll probably try and get back together and go back over the results.
Oh my God, did you see what happened?
Exactly. Oh my God, who knew? Who knew that it was all Hank Pym?
Hank Pym is Thanos.
It was a dream. It was a dream. No one's really dead. JR wasn't shot at all.
This has all been Tony Stark's vision from Age of Ultron.
Exactly. Whoa, man, we've gone back in time.
Could you imagine?
The uproar. So, thanks for listening, guys. I've been Barg the Ogre, aka Stu. You can find me on the Tweety Box at Barg the Ogre. And hopefully we will see you down the road in the next episode of Inside the Ogre's Cavern. Catch you later.
Awkward silences are the best. Awkward silences are the best. I'll sing 'cause it's funny. Can't sing for shit. Please edit this. You know that soundbite you always put at the end? Please don't do that.